Sure. I'm Raymond Spencer, R-A-Y-M-O-N-D, Spencer, S-P-E-N-C-E-R, and I'm the Lieutenant of the Vice and Sex Trafficking Section for Metro Police. Yes, this late yesterday evening, we received a call from a woman who had sought help from a local shelter here in town. She was the victim of sex trafficking. She stated that she was being forced to prostitute herself and wanted help. That's what originally got the call. Our detectives responded out to the shelter and they interviewed her, and she gave us some very disturbing details that caused us to immediately conduct a very proactive investigation.
About her?
No, she was at just a shelter here in Las Vegas. Her house, or where the search warrant was served this morning, was in the area of Eastern and Sahara. She stated that she had been in Las Vegas for the last couple of years and that she had lived in a house with her husband and her 2 children. She stated that her husband was extremely abusive and had forced her to go out and solicit herself for prostitution, and also was physically abusive to the children. She also gave us some very disturbing details that she wasn't allowed to communicate with the children. She was forced to stay in a bedroom. The children could not speak with her, and also that the children were never allowed to leave the house and that they were not in school.
How many?
There were 2 children. So at that point, that's when we begin the investigation. From speaking with her, though, she stated that they met in Illinois several years back and had 3 children. And she told us during the course of that interview that during a physical altercation, one of the other children had died as a result of her husband. Correct. And what happened is she had stated that the incident occurred at a town in Illinois, and that after the death, that the husband had put the child in a container and hid the child after the child had died in a garage in Illinois. Once we got that information this morning, we worked in conjunction with Illinois' authorities. They went out there and checked on the address and were able to determine that there was a container like she had described, and at that point, that's when the child was found at the residence. Yes, it is a 6-year-old girl that was the daughter of the woman here in Las Vegas. So once we gathered all that information, our detectives started working as much intelligence as we could. Our main concern at this point, we knew we had 2 small children inside the residence here in Las Vegas, so we began formulating a plan to rescue those children. Shortly after 9 o'clock this morning, members of our SWAT team made entry into the house, and we did recover both children and the suspect inside the house. I will tell you, it was a very disturbing scene seeing the condition of the children, because you could tell they had obviously had limited outside involvement over the last 18 months to 2 years. Neighbors had reported not seeing them, that they never came outside, and they were not in school. So we are conducting interviews with those children, and they have been placed into protective custody. It's important to stress, too, when neighbors see situations like that where a family lives next door to them and that there's 2 or 3 children that are inside a house and they don't come outside, they don't go to school. Those are situations where people need to contact the police or social services so we can make sure we do follow up and check the welfare of those children. So it's very important. I will tell you, like I said, it was very disturbing when you saw the children. They obviously did have some physical injuries where they appeared to be abused, which did corroborate what the mother had told us. And from the interviews, you could tell that they had obviously had very limited contact with any family, any neighbors, any friends, in their social levels. Social skills were very non-age appropriate. The children were in their early teens. Yes, he was currently, he was placed under arrest for the sex trafficking and for living off the earnings of a prostitute currently. Those charges could be modified because this is still an ongoing investigation locally. We're working in conjunction with both our abuse neglect detectives and our detectives in the vice and sex trafficking section. In addition, we're working in cooperation with the authorities in Illinois. She was living at the home near Sahara and Eastern. However, when she returned home, she was forced to stay in a room. She was not allowed to have any interaction with the two children that were in the house. They were kept separate. She told us that she has had very limited interaction with the children, even though they live together. I will tell you, like I said, it's a very disturbing call. You know, you had some very seasoned SWAT officers that were out there that were visibly shaken and moved because of how disturbing of a situation it was this morning. And I'll tell you, just in the years, you know, the 19 years of law enforcement is one of the cases I will never forget. You can tell just from the condition of the children, you know, how pale they were, those type of things, and just the minimal interaction in seeing those children and knowing the type of counseling and help that those children are going to need. No, I stress the importance, you know, we talk about see something, say something. When your neighbors, or when they're out there, you know, neighbors are the people that are going to see this type of strange behavior. You know, all of us live in the community. If we see something like this where kids, you know, kids go out and play, kids go to school. If kids aren't doing those things, that's an issue. And that's where parents and family and neighbors need to speak up and make sure they reach out to the police so we can get involved and rescue the two children, just like we did these two children here today. Yes, we got the call late last night. Again, I had people working on this case all over the night. And then once we worked with the authorities in Illinois, we gave them the information that we had. She was very specific on where we were going to locate the body. The authorities in Illinois did locate the child at that point, and that's when the investigation moved very rapidly. And this is something where it has to move rapidly because we had two children in that house, and that's our main concern right now is the safety of both those kids.
The female, is she facing any charges?
She's a victim right now of sex trafficking. As far as the case in Illinois, that I'll have to refer you to Illinois authorities. You know, I don't know the specifics as far as what was the turning point. What I will tell you, you know, in wrapping up is that I'm very, very happy that she did come forward at this point so we could at least make sure we get these children in protective custody and get the help that they need because it's going to be a long road ahead for both these children. So with that, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right.